Transform economies away from extraction and pollution and integrate women's rights into all aspects of climate policy, says the United Nations Organization. Climate justice should be a safe space for all genders and have every gender represented as frontline warriors who are constantly striving to prepare for, respond to, and recover from climate change impacts. Good morning. I, Bavadarni, the Planning and Execution Head of Gender Center, Department of Sociology, will be your MC for today. The Department of Sociology of Stella Maris College and Gender Center, along with Pasumai Thayagam NGO, welcome each one of you present here to the conference on climate justice and gender equality. With all the zeal in the universe, as we look forward to gaining abundant knowledge through today's conference, I invite Sister Anita Gonzalez, FMM Secretary, Stella Maris College, to invoke God's blessings.
Let us pray. This is the day the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. Psalm 118, verse 24. Lord Almighty, with a grateful heart, we thank you for ordaining this day to conduct the International Conference on Climate, Justice, and Gender Equality with the collaborative efforts of the Department of Sociology and Pasumai Thayagam NGO. We seek your grace and blessings for the smooth conduct of the proceedings and for its successful outcome. We beseech thee to bestow your blessings on our guests of honor, Dr. Anbumani Ramadas, and Dr. Saumya Anbumani, for all the moderators, researchers, entrepreneurs, presenters, and participants. Lord, we pray for your wisdom, guidance, and support for each one of them. We earnestly pray for your navigating presence with the organizing team and all those who have been avidly involved in assisting them. We believe and profess in faith that you have begun the good work and you will bring it to perfect fruition. This prayer we make in your name, Lord. Amen.
Thank you, sister. Music conveys a lot more than what just words cannot. Here we have a beautiful rendition by students of the Department of Sociology. Summer is keeping green and so should you. Thank you for that thoughtful rendition. I now invite Sister Principal Dr. Stella Mary, FMM, to felicitate our chief guest with a memento.
Good morning, students, faculty, and our honored guests. It gives me great pleasure to welcome all of you to this landmark conference on climate change, justice, and gender equality held in collaboration with the NGO Pasumai Thayagam. The areas identified encompass topical issues as points of focus and gives us multiple terms to consider, debate, and discuss in tandem as well as separately. I am honored to welcome Dr. Anbumani Ramadas, MB, and Dr. Soumya to this event. Give them a round of applause. His presence here gives this conference a contextual significance and indicates the importance the Department of Sociology and Stella Maris College, women, farmers, eclectic areas of study such as battling climate change in the Western Ghats, resilience and global dialogues. The wide-ranging conversations emerging from the input sessions will give us much room for continued dialogue and discussions, and I am sure encourage research and development for the sustenance of planet Earth. I congratulate the Department of Sociology for choosing such topical areas for the themes of this conference. I wish them the very best and look forward to further developments in their involvement and participation in including climate change in the context of gender justice, equity, and equality. Thank you and God bless.
Thank you, sister. I invite Dr. Soumya Anbumani, President, Pasumai Thayagam NGO, to felicitate our principal and sister secretary. On behalf of everyone present here, I am delighted to introduce our chief guest of the day, Dr. Anbumani Ramadas, a three-time member of parliament and a current member of the Rajya Sabha. Sir has served as the Union Cabinet Minister of Health and Family Welfare from 2004 to 2009. Completing his education at Montfort Boys Higher Secondary School, Yerkard, undergraduation from Madras Medical College, Sir pursued a course on introductory macroeconomics from the London School of Economics in the year 2003. During his tenure as the youngest minister, Dr. Anbumani established several institutions, including the Public Health Foundation of India, Department of Health Research, National Institute of Communicable Diseases, Food Safety and Standards Authority of India, and the Traditional Knowledge Digital Library. Notably, he initiated the 108 emergency ambulance scheme across India, addressing various health emergencies. Sir's passion on the subject of environment has been demonstrated through his participation in the Chennai Run, held to raise awareness about the impact of climate change and importance of declaring climate change emergency to combat the rapid changes in climate seen around the world. Sir has also led a number of protests to highlight environmental degradation, and Dr. Anbumani has received multiple international awards, including the Luther L. Terry Award by the American Cancer Society in 2006, the World Health Organization's Director General's Special Award for Exemplary Leadership and Tobacco Control in 2007, and the Polio Eradication Champion Award from Rotary International in the year 2007. Additionally, Sir was honored at the Rotary International's Polio-Free Conclave in 2014 for his contributions to eradicating polio. We offer our immense gratitude to you for being our chief guest and are honored to be having you amidst us today, sir. Bless our students so we follow your footsteps and become future leaders. Over to you, sir, for the presidential address.
Thank you, Ma, for the great introduction. Respected Principal, Stella Maris College, Dr. Stella Mary. Respected Head of Department Sociology and Director Gender Center, Dr. Maria Agnes Sasita. You're very popular here. Respected Secretary, Stella Maris College, Sister Anita Gonzalez. President, Pasumai Thayagam, Dr. Saumya Anbumani. Respected professors of this very prestigious college, staff, and my dear students, I wish you all a very good morning, and I'm very happy to be here amongst you in creating awareness on climate change, climate justice, gender equality, a very, very important subject, the need of the hour. And I'm very thankful to Dr. Sasita for conducting this wonderful conference, her leadership in showing not only this conference, but all the other issues pertaining to sociology and social issues. Sociology is very close to me, not only as a subject, but as a concept. As a subject, my mother-in-law was a sociologist. My wife is a sociologist. In fact, she is an alumna of this college. And my daughter is studying sociology in this college. On the social issue, that's where my party and I stand for. I work, my full-time job is to have social justice for the underprivileged section of society. Today's issue of climate change is directly linked with social issues. And when you say linked with gender equality, I'd like to, before I go on to awareness on these issues of climate change, I'd like you to see just a 5-minute video. Climate change, there's no point in going further and discussing about gender equality or inequality, how climate change is affecting equality, genders, all these things. First, you have to know what is climate change. Can you play the video, please? Nine, a little. That's it.
the aftermath of Trump.
Thank you for the video. The uniqueness of this video is that all these events, climate extreme events, happened last year, just last year. And there were more than 100 climate extreme events which happened last year alone. But I've just shown you nearly about 15, 20 of them only. And in these 15, 20 of them, events, nearly 7,000 to 8,000 people died. And more than about 1 billion people were displaced. The cost of only these events, extreme events, was about $250 billion US. Can anybody say India's budget last year? How much was India's budget last year? I'm going to ask questions now and then to you, sounding like your professors, like so. Approximately 45 lakh crores. And just these events alone costs the world nearly about 22 lakh crores. Approximately half of India's budget, annual India's budget. And these events are only a few which I've selected. Last year alone, America experienced 18 severe extreme events, and the total loss for them was about $160 billion, which amounts to about 12 lakh crores, approximately. So this is a phenomena which is happening and which is going to happen with a lot of intensity, severity, and the most people affected are going to be women and children. So you have to get sensitized of what is climate change and what are we going to do, what should be done today. All these extreme events are happening because the Earth's average temperature has increased by just 1.2 degrees centigrade. When I say just, you can all say, wait, 1.2 degrees centigrade is nothing. Hundreds of thousands of years ago, the Earth's average temperature was 14 degrees centigrade, till man and modernity came into existence. Till about 150 years ago, it remained at 14 degrees centigrade on an average Earth's temperature. After the Industrial Revolution by the Western world, it increased by 1.2 degrees. Today it is 15.2 degrees centigrade. Just this 1.2 degrees increase of temperature is showing Mother Earth is giving us a signal. Slow down. The Earth is getting warmer, and I don't like it. The message Mother Earth is giving us, I think we have to listen to it. And India is one of the most affected countries in the world because of climate change and global warming. Even though the amount of pollution from India is less compared to other countries, per capita pollution. As a country, the pollution is high. But per capita, according to our population, you can see it is on the lower level. But coming back to why this is all happening, what is global warming, what is climate change? Have any of you heard about greenhouse gases for protection? And what this greenhouse gas does is, it completely surrounds the Earth. The sun's rays, and not only the rays, the heat comes to Earth, and then enough of heat is absorbed by the Earth, the rest is emitted back. So when it's emitted back, these greenhouse gases make sure these are emitted back. ஏன்னா அந்த அளவுக்கு கரெக்டா இருக்கும் greenhouse gases Earthக்கு. In the last 150 years ago, this greenhouse gas has increased. Carbon dioxide, or methane, nitrous oxide, all these increased. And so what happens is the sun's rays and heat is not reflected back. Ulle it's getting trapped inside Earth because of the increase of greenhouse gases. அதனால global warming. போர் அடிக்கிறேன்னா என்னடா காலையிலே வந்து இவன் போர் அடிக்கிறான்னு நினைச்சுக்கிறேன். அடிச்சாலும் பரவாயில்ல, நான் பேசிதான் ஆவேன், நீங்க கேட்டுதான் ஆகணும். ஏன்னா this is your life, and these issues are going to affect you and your future generations. Your children, your grandchildren, all of them are going to be affected if we don't take action today. Because our generation is the only generation who could act. We can't leave this for the next generation to act, because by the time it's going to be too late. அதனால தான் you need to know what is it. கொஞ்சம் போர் அடிக்கும், ட்ரை சப்ஜெக்ட் தான். ஆனாலும் கொஞ்சம் ஏதோ கொஞ்சம் தெரிஞ்சுக்குங்க. ஏன்னா வீட்டுக்கு போய் அப்பா கிட்ட சொல்லுங்க, வீட்டில் சொல்லுங்க, ஃப்ரெண்ட்ஸ் கிட்ட சொல்லுங்க, டிஸ்கஸ் பண்ணுங்க. வாட்ஸ்அப் குரூப்ல சினிமா மட்டும் இல்லை, இதெல்லாம் போடுங்க. போர் அடிச்சாலும் பரவாயில்ல, அது போடணும். போட்டு create an awareness, because I see you all as brand ambassadors to save our beautiful planet Earth. It is all our responsibility. So அதனால ஏன் greenhouse gases அதிகமாயிடுச்சுன்னா, because of burning of fossil fuel. Fossil fuel என்ன தெரியுமா? The fuel we get under the earth. அது petrol, diesel, LPG, natural gas, எல்லாமே all fossil fuel. And இது burn பண்ணி power generation, அதுக்காக burn பண்ணியிருக்கிறாங்க. For transportation they burn it. So at the burn these fossil fuels. The fossil fuels are hydrocarbon. Just got hydrogen atom and a carbon atom. Methane, ethane, propane, butane, எல்லாமே all hydrocarbons. Like, I don't want to sound like your chemistry or a physics professor, but you should know what hydrocarbon, greenhouse gases, fossil fuel. So when we burn these things, like, it goes to the atmosphere, and then you have this effect of global warming. It's once it warms, in the affecting video part the effect, and these events are going to be very, very extreme. Have any of you heard of a concept called permafrost? Permafrost is an area in Russia, Siberia. Siberia is one of the coldest places on earth. Russia la எங்கயாவது பனிஷ்மென்ட் பண்ணனும்னா சர்பியாக்கு அனுப்பிச்சு விட்டுடுவாங்க. அங்க சர்பியன் கோல்ட்ல வந்து யாரும் அங்க nobody can put up with that cold like that. அங்க permafrost is what soil and ice mix together. இப்போ off late, because of global warming, that permafrost is melting. Because of that melting, lot of organisms like virus or bacteria which has been trapped 50,000 years ago, 100,000 years ago during the ice age, now are getting exposed. And once it gets exposed, now we are going to see newer diseases coming because of climate change. COVID la evlo prachana vandadilla. Earlier to COVID, we had a concept called SARS in 2002. And then in 2012, we had MERS, Middle Eastern Respiratory Syndrome. And then 2019. So every 10 years, we have some outbreak of diseases. And I see this directly linked to climate change. அடுத்தது என்ன ஐயோ பயமா இருக்கு நினைச்சு பார்த்தாலே இதுவே 3 வருஷம் உள்ள உட்கார்ந்துகிட்டு என்ன பண்ணணும்னு தெரியாம உட்கார்ந்திருந்தோம் கோவிட்க்கு அதனால because of climate change these things happen like again who is affected the women and children are affected and they don't have any role in policy making in agenda making எதுவும் இல்ல for the women there is a meeting to the United Nations is spearheading this movement against climate change, global warming, to at least bring down the emission level, bring down the usage of fossil fuel. அவங்க எவ்வளவு சத்தம் போட்டுட்டு தான் இருக்கிறாங்க United Nations. But nobody is listening. The biggest polluter is America. 24% of the global pollution emission is by America. 24. அமெரிக்காக்கு போயிருக்கீங்களா? நியூயார்க் போயிருக்கீங்களா யாராவது? மேன்ஹாட்டன் பார்த்திருக்கீங்களா? நைட்ல பார்த்திருக்கீங்களா? பியூட்டிஃபுல்லா இருக்கும். ரொம்ப அழகா இருக்கும். பெரிய பெரிய பில்டிங்ஸ் இருக்கும் மேன்ஹாட்டன்ல. ராத்திரில பார்த்தனா எல்லா பில்டிங்ல லைட் எரியும். ஆனா யாரும் உள்ள இருக்க மாட்டாங்க. 24 hours 365 days லைட் எரிஞ்சிட்டு தான் இருக்கும். சாட்டர்டே சண்டே நீங்க பாத்தீங்கன்னா எல்லா பில்டிங் லைட் எரியும். அவங்களுக்கு என்னன்னா அது அழகா இருக்கணுமா. Can you imagine how much of electricity, energy is spent for this? I would like to call it a foolish thing to do. வேலைக்கு போ லைட்டை போட்டுட்டு போ இல்லாத டைம்ல போயிட்டு ஏன்னா அந்த கான்செப்ட் மேன்ஹாட்டன் அந்த கான்செப்ட் கொண்டு வரணும்னு like there are so many things like this which is happening out there. Like coming back to the video, இந்த வீடியோ பார்த்தா இது நான் ரொம்ப மோசமான வீடியோலாம் இருக்கு. I didn't want to show it like to you. ஏன்னா ரொம்ப மோசமா அந்த வீடியோல கடைசி 3 ஸ்லைட் பாத்தீங்களா? சிஸ்டர் கூட பார்த்து சிரிச்சாங்க அது பார்த்த உடனே. எந்த ஸ்லைடு அது? நம்ம காலேஜ் ஸ்லைடு, உங்க காலேஜ் ஸ்லைடு. யூ ஆர் அஃபெக்டட், யூ ஆர் டைரக்ட்லி அஃபெக்டட். அமெரிக்கா, ஆஸ்திரேலியா, ஜப்பான், பெரு, சில்லி அதெல்லாம் மட்டும் இல்லை. யூ ஆர் அஃபெக்டட் பை திஸ் அண்ட் யூ ஆர் கோயிங் டு பி அஃபெக்டட் மோர் அண்ட் மோர் in the days to come, in the years to come. And when I say you, your family, your offsprings, எல்லாமே. அதனால தான் we need to create a lot of noise on this. சரி நான் என்ன பண்ண முடியும்? What can I do? I am an individual. You are not an individual. You have your college here. You have your friends here. Make noise. Make noise so that it reaches the government and the government does policy changes. That's our job. That's your job. In fact, as a NGO, Pasumai Thayagam, we are doing that, trying to make noise everywhere. And these extreme events like, imagine China, a dust storm enga varum usually? Desert la. Usually Sahara desert la, biggest dust storms, it goes on for days, some goes on for months. China la, capital Beijing city la, you get a dust storm affecting 400 million people. Imagine what is happening. Imagine Tamil Nadu. Tamil Nadu வந்து average rainfall of Tamil Nadu is 950 millimeters. That is 95 centimeters a year. ஒரு வருஷத்துக்கு பெய்யற மழை. Suddenly about in 2000 and I think 16 or 17, I'm not sure. There's a place called Avilanchi in Ooty, near Ooty. அதில் பார்த்தா திடீர்னு ஒரு நாளில் வந்து 911 millimeters of rain it had. ஒரே நாளில். It's called cloud burst. And a lot of things were destroyed. Homes were destroyed, crops were destroyed. But we didn't even know about it. It happened here in Tamil Nadu. Last year, December, in Thoothukudi, there is a place, அது என்ன இடம் பாரு? காயல்பட்டினம். காயல்பட்டினம் in Thoothukudi, ஒரே நாளில் 95 centimeters of rain. 950 millimeters of rain. Average rainfall of Tamil Nadu ஒரு வருஷத்துக்கு மழை அந்த காயல்பட்டினத்தில் ஒரு நாளில் பெஞ்சுது. If it happens in Chennai, imagine what will happen. Can it happen in Chennai? It definitely can happen in Chennai. Chennai, we had 35 centimeters in parts of Chennai. So, every one of us are affected. And when I say not only rains or floods, extreme temperatures, like when I say droughts na Spain last year. I'm just talking about last year. When I talk about the last decade, you could see peria events, like extreme events, lots of events happened worldwide. But I'm just telling 1 year, just last year, 2023 is the hottest year ever recorded in history. Hottest year. Apo, we are moving into Mother Earth is really annoyed with us now. சொல்லி பார்த்தது ஒழுங்கா நடந்துக்குங்க யாரும் கேட்குற மாதிரி இல்லை. Then it starts its work like சரி வார்ன் பண்ணி these are all warning signs like அதுக்கப்புறம் நம்ம அந்த வார்னிங் எடுத்துக்கலன்னா அவ்வளோதான், இன்னும் மோசமாக விளைவுகள் இருக்க போகுது. 500 yearsல ஸ்பெயின்ல had its biggest drought in Spain in 500 years. Germany, there's a river called Rhine River. That's a lifeline of Germany. And so much of transportation goes to that river. Equipments, material, food, petrol, oil, சாப்பாடு எல்லாமே அந்த ரிவர்ல தான் போகும். Last year the river was dry. It was dry. அதனால there was so much of economic loss for Germany just for. So every year in India, climate change, Sikkim lab, cloud burst. Uttarakhand, அது பார்த்தோம் நம்ம, cloud burst. Delhi, it was flooded. அவ்வளோ பெரிய flood, Yamuna was flooded in Delhi. Bangalore, deluge. Nagpur, everywhere is like in Tamil Nadu, example in Chennai. 2015, we had a storm, a flood in Chennai. And then recently, last December, we had another big flood. The one word which you're going to be frequently hearing in the days to come is once in a 100-year-old flood, once in a 100-year drought, once in a 100-year storm, or once in a 100-year cyclone. Frequent கேட்டுட்டே இருக்க போறீங்க. இந்த வருஷம் once in a 100-year flood ன்னு கேட்பீங்க. அடுத்த 2 வருஷத்துல மறுபடியும் once in a 100-year flood. ஏன்னா this flood is going to be bigger than the next flood. I mean the last flood. So that word you're going to be frequently hearing. When I was growing up, I used to hear this every 15 years or 20 years கேட்டுட்டு இருப்போம். ஓ 100 வருஷத்துக்கு முன்னாடி வந்துச்சுப்பா, அவ்வளோ மழை வந்தது இல்லைன்னு. இப்போ 2-3 வருஷத்துக்கு ஒரு முறை நான் கேட்டுட்டு இருக்கேன். And we are going to hear it more frequently like. So, okay, what we have to do now? What is the solution for this? Why? Again, I reiterate, yaar most affected? The women and children. Like. And women and children in the rural areas. Urban la kuda edo kedakkudanga. Rural is romba mosama irukku. And another concept like, I just want to digress a little bit here. Like, when you say, like Tamil Nadu, Tamil Nadu, you can say the most urbanized state in India. சில பேருக்கு பெருமையா இருக்கும் அது. ஓ the most urbanized state in India. 52% of Tamil Nadu is urban. All these statistics like. But for me, that is not development. I don't see urbanization as a form of development. I see it's at the opposite level நான் பார்க்கிறேன் நான். Why a state is getting urbanized? In a rural, there's no opportunity, there's no job, there's no employment because there's no water, there's no irrigation, there's no farming, there's no water because of climate change. So when you say climate refugees in வார்த்தை கேள்விப்பட்டிருக்கீங்களா? Climate refugees, because of climate change, people move out. There are temporary refugees, there are permanent refugees. So I see this urbanization is a form of climate refugees, not as a sign of development. ஏன்னா ஊரில் அவனுக்கு வேலை இல்லை, விவசாயம் இல்லை, எதுவுமே இல்லாதனால அவன் என்ன பண்ணிட்டான், அது விட்டுட்டு இங்கே வந்துடுறான், சென்னைக்கு வந்துடுறான். இங்கே வந்துட்டு menial jobs they do, they just stay somewhere. And then we say urbanization சொல்றோம், கை தட்டிக்கிறோம். That's true development of a state lies in where people, wherever they're living, they need to be there with self-respect, live with self-respect, live with opportunities of employment, have schools, have employment. Angiye varandada, that is the true form of development. So that is where we need to go forward. Coming back, linking urbanization with climate change. Climate refugees is something where, again, and the climate refugees, yaar adhiga baadippu? Women. Temporary refugees, இப்போ ஒரு floods வருது, ஒரு 20 நாள் கேம்ப்ல வச்சிருக்காங்க, ஏன்னா வீடெல்லாம் முழுகிடுச்சு. ஏழைகள் மட்டும் கிடையாது, எல்லாரும் பாதிக்கப்பட்டிருக்காங்க. I know one person who bought a house for 5 crores, 5 கோடி ரூபாய்க்கு வீடு வாங்கினான். சென்னை ஃப்ளட்ல 20 நாள் வீட்டுக்குள்ள போக முடியல. So இது எல்லாருக்கும் தான் பாதிப்பு. பணக்கார ஏழை எல்லாம் கிடையாது. This climate changes affects everybody. அதனால so that way அந்த ரெஃப்யூஜி கேம்ப்ல யாருக்கு அதிக பிரச்சனை? விமென். ஏன்னா அங்க இருக்கிற கண்டிஷன்ஸ் இருக்குமா, தங்கறது இருக்குமா, சேஃப்டி இருக்குமா, பாத்ரூம் இருக்குமா, all these things like. So there are then the permanent refugees, for example, Maldives. Recently there's been issues of Maldives. But Maldives in our country, இன்னும் ஒரு 50 yearsல இருக்காது. ஏன்னா Maldives is only 4 feet high from the mean sea level. Maldives comprises of 1,200 islands. But the population is about 3.3 lakhs. அவ்வளவுதான். சின்ன country, பெரிய country with a little population, but 50 yearsல you won't see Maldives. இருக்காது because of global warming, climate change, rise of sea, ice is melting. இந்த ஸ்லைட்ல கூட நான் காமிச்சேன். இந்த polar ice, North Pole, South Pole, Arctic, Antarctica ice melting at a very, very fast pace. Melt படுச்சுனா then the sea rises. இன்னொரு 40-50 வருஷத்துல ஸ்டெல்லா மரீஸ் பார்த்தா பீச்ல இருக்கும். இங்கிருந்து எட்டி பார்த்தா பீச் தெரியும். 40-50 வருஷத்துல தெரியும். All this is definitely, it is possible. ஏன்னா இதெல்லாம் you have to think about. So இதுல தான் mitigation and adaptation is something where we need to do to offset. Offsetனா it's very Herculean task, but கொஞ்சமா we have to push. So we have to do it. I have attended a lot of conferences. Recently, COP28 conference was there in Dubai. COP na police illa. COP na committee of parties. The 28th meeting was happening in Dubai. And committee of parties na yarna, the world countries, like affected countries, all countries affected. All countries come every year. They have an agenda. And the last agenda was 2015 Paris Declaration. நடந்தது. அதில் 196 countries signed and said that by 2030, 43% of emission will be reduced. By 2035, 60% of emission will be reduced. By 2050, 100% zero emission. அப்படி இன்னொரு அஜெண்டாவை ஃபிக்ஸ் பண்ணாங்க. அது செட் பண்றதுக்கு every year we assembled and then discuss for 2 weeks and then have an agenda and say okay அடுத்து இதெல்லாம் பண்ணணும். Adaptation, mitigation, climate finance. Polluters pay அப்படின்னு ஒரு கான்செப்ட்ல climate finance. climate resilience, we should show resilience, mitigation, adaptations. Like, I think down, there's going to be so many speakers today, experts, they are better equipped than me. They have more knowledge than me in this subject. Like, I would like to leave it to them. Women needs to be on the policy agenda. Unfortunately, COP29 meeting நடக்குது இந்த வருஷம் அசர்பைஜான்ல நடக்க போகுது. அதுல they had an organizing committee. அந்த organizing committeeல பார்த்தா there were 28 people in the organizing committee. All 28 are men. There's no woman, not even one woman in that organizing committee for COP29 meeting. The first COP meeting was in 1995. Because Rio Summit, 1992, Rio Summit நடந்தது. அதுல தான் agenda started. Like, in 1995, the first COP meeting happened, and that is where Pasumai Thayagam, my organization, was founded in 1995, coinciding the first COP meeting. Like, இன்னைக்கு 28 மீட்டிங், இந்த வருஷம் 29வது மீட்டிங் நடக்க போகுது. ஆனாலும் இன்னும் பேசிட்டு தான் இருக்கிறோம். nobody is doing much. They all still talking. நாம் பண்ணணுமா, நீ பண்ணணுமா, நீ பொல்யூட் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்க, நான் பண்ணல, நான் குறைவா பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கேன், இதுதான் பேசிட்டு இருக்கோம் தவிர nothing in action. So that is why I want all of you to go there, do something, do your part, so that you can save our beautiful earth. Have you heard of Greta Thunberg? I'm from Scandinavia. தண்ணி சின்ன பொண்ணு, அப்ப அதுக்கு வயசு 15 நினைக்கிறேன். 15 வயசுல பார்லிமெண்ட்டுக்கு வெளியில போய் உட்காந்துச்சு, தரையில உட்காந்துக்கிட்டு போராட்டம் பண்ணிடுச்சு. போலீஸ் அனுமதி கொடுக்கல. But she said, no, I want to. She sat in front of the parliament, and then a protest is saying that save earth. And you have polluted my earth, you have spoiled my future, and you have to pay. And because of her now, there are so many global young leaders like you who have come into a concept to create awareness on climate change. I want all of you to be Greta Thunberg, if not more than her. Take the initiative. It is our earth, it is your future, it is our future, and we need to save this beautiful earth. With these words, once again, I'd like to thank respected principal, and of course, Dr. Sasita, for inviting me for this wonderful, wonderful initiative. And I would like to applaud her leadership, not only in this climate change, but other sociology, other issues which she's been conducting. And all the very best. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Every word of yours made so much sense, and I'm hopeful that our students will take earnest efforts in protecting our Mother Earth. So there are 2 words to define everything that you spoke about: thought-provoking and insightful, and all of its synonyms make up for what you just talked about. I now kindly request our beloved Dr. Maria Agnes Sasita, Head, Department of Sociology and Director of Gender Center, to deliver the vote of thanks.